Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Can Lit, a podcast that showcases Canadian authors. I'm your host, Maria Zupardi, an avid Can Lit reader, and keep on listening to find your next favorite book today. All right, so let's get started. Let me start with the books that I have pre-ordered. I feel like I'm pretty sure I'm going in order of pub date here. Okay, so I'm just opening my internet tabs because, of course, there's a million of them open. I'm just joking. There's 7 books pre-ordered right now, that could change, like, after Christmas with gift cards and stuff like that, but I also have to, like, be mindful a little bit, I think, of, like, Canadian pre-orders and then, like, the other big book pre-orders, so I'm just kind of like, "You know what? I might as well mention what everything else I've pre-ordered here because why not?" Okay, so we're just gonna do that. So it's gonna be mostly Canadian here with, like, I think 2 non-Canadian authors that I'm just gonna, like, mention because you know what? It's the last episode of the year. Let's expand a little bit. Okay, so the first book that I have pre-ordered is called Midnight by Amy Mcculloch. That's probably wrong. McCulloch, she's the author of Breathless or Breathless, depending on how you want to read that book cover. I have heard so many good things about that book, Breathless. And I know it was a book of the month pick. Unfortunately, it's not available for Canadians. I tried, I checked. So I'm just not gonna like get it because I refuse to get a book that I could get off of book of the month, but it's not available. Maybe they'll bring it to Canada. Who knows? It's probably a thing about like it's a different publisher here, which sucks, but oh well. But this is the author of that book, which did really, really well. And I know that was more like, you know, that book Drowning by TJ Newman, I think the author is. I was reading this description and that's the first book I thought of. It's like that very high energy, high action thriller book. And I'm pretty sure that's what Breathless is. And now this new book, Midnight, that's what it is. So it releases January 2nd. So I will be getting it soon. Exciting. So this is about there's 24 hours of daylight left and there's nowhere to hide. I'm just going to read the description because I'm too tired for anything else. Apologies. So Olivia has always dreamt of spending a white night on the frigid Antarctic continent. That does not sound like a dream to me, but anyways, Olivia, as an actuary who assesses risk for a living, she never thought she'd have the chance. So when her career takes an unexpected turn after her high-powered art dealer boyfriend decides to stage an ostentatious career-making exhibition on a luxury expedition to the polar desert, she is thrilled. But things soon begin to seem strange. In addition to the wealthy clients, Olivia unexpectedly finds they'll be traveling with the beleaguered employees of the company running the expedition and their charismatic, divisive CEO. And then ominous connections to her and her boyfriend's past begin to appear. The first deaths seem at first a dreadful accident, but as the situation on board heats up and the temperatures plummet, Olivia starts to wonder if she has booked a one-way ticket to her own demise. So it sounds really cool. Definitely more of a mix of like Drowning and probably like one of what was that recent island mystery I kind of read? Oh, she started it. Yes, that's it. So okay, it sounds like a mix of she started it and like Drowning. So that's why I really pre-ordered this book because it just sounds pretty cool. Um, and yeah, so that releases January 2nd. So that's the first one that I pre-ordered. Oh, interesting. Sorry, I'm just reading her bio here. So this is what I mean. Like, she is Canadian, but she doesn't live here right now currently, which is totally fine. But like, I don't know. I feel like as long as the bio says you're born in Canada, then I will accept you as a Canadian author. Anyways, okay. Next book that I pre-ordered that's coming out would be on January 23rd. And that is Broughtupsy. Oh my gosh, go away, Indigo. Gosh, you know their drop-down menu. Anyway, so that is Broughtupsy by Christina Cooke, which is such a beautiful cover. It's orange and then it's got this green lime. It's a fruit. Might be a lime, hopefully. Yeah, so it's on the cover. It's very beautiful. It sounds so good when I read the description. You should have seen me on Catalyst. It's this website where a lot of the Canadian publishers like put up their catalogs that are upcoming. and I was just like looking through everything. It takes a long time to get through all of those catalogs, but it's worth it because I found this gem of a novel. So for Broughtupsy, Akua is returning home to Jamaica for the first time in 10 years. Her younger brother has died suddenly, and Akua hopes to reconnect with her estranged older sister, Tamika. Over 3 fateful weeks, the sisters visit significant places from their childhood where Akua spreads her brother's ashes. But time spent with Tamika only seems to make apparent how different they are and how alone Akua feels. Then Akua meets Jada, a brash stripper who reveals a different side of Kingston. As the two women grow closer, Akua is forced to confront the difficult reality of being gay in a deeply religious family and what it means to be a gay woman in Jamaica. Her trip comes to a frenzied and dangerous end, but not without a glimmer of hope of how to be at peace with her sister and herself. By turns, this is what got me, by the way. By turns, diasporic family saga, Bildungsroman, I think that's how you say it, and her sexual awakening, Broughtupsy asks, what are we willing to do for family and what are we willing to do to feel at home? So that like really, that last sentence really, like it intrigued me enough. And I'm like, I don't want to borrow this. I just want to own it, especially because of the cover, which this is publishing under a different cover in the US. And I think Canada did it better as usual. So go Canada. So that was Broughtupsy by Christina Cooke, and I will let you know how it is in a future episode for sure. Next up, which I just discovered the other day, and I'm so excited that I went back on Indigo's website and scrolled their like most anticipated lists. Just because like I found this and it just sounded so good. So this is again also January 23rd release date, which I have a lot on that day, I guess. This is called 27 Minutes by Ashley Tate. It's a debut, so I'm like automatically my blinders were up, like, ooh, debut. Like this sounds really good because they put more effort into a debut. Like it's not a secret. Um, so this is for fans of Jane Harper, Ashley Flowers, and Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, which I never read. So we'll see what happens. um, so, welcome to West Wilmer, where everyone knows everyone and everyone has a secret, as per usual. This might be, this isn't quite everyone here is lying, but like the way they did the description, it just looks like how that was played out kind of thing, if that makes sense. So in big caps they have the question, and then like the paragraph continues. No one in the small claustrophobic town of West Wilmer can forget Phoebe Dean, their sweet beloved golden girl. It's been 10 years since the car crash that tragically took her life, yet one question lingers. Why did it take her brother Grant 27 minutes to call for help after the accident? And then big caps again, the secret. As the anniversary of Phoebe's death approaches, Grant is consumed by memories of that night and everything he lost, his future, his reputation, his little sister, and the secret he's been keeping all these years is threatening to undo him. But he and Phoebe weren't the only ones in the car that night. Becca was there too, and she'll do anything to protect Grant. And then again, big caps, the truth. Everyone in West Wilmer remembers Phoebe, but only June Delroy remembers the other person lost that same night. Her brother Wyatt disappeared 10 years ago without a trace, until someone appears at her door, someone who may know where Wyatt went all those years ago, someone who knows what really happened that night, someone who is ready to tell the truth. And then this book takes place over 3 days. There's a shocking twist, as the description says. And then it says 27 Minutes is a gripping story about what happens when grief becomes unbearable, dark secrets are unearthed, and the horrifying truth is revealed, which sounds really good. I mean, I'm hoping this is like better of a debut than The Push was by Ashley O'Drain. Like it was good, but I mean, I I don't know, just might not have been my cup of tea, but I think this is very much more like a thriller with a domestic twist aspect to it, which I really, if it's done well, I will really love this book. And this author lives in Toronto too, so I'm really hoping that either there's like a huge launch event and I can go meet her, or I don't know, something. But it's also January, so we'll see what happens. January in Canada sucks. But anyways, I will leave that in the hands of the author and the publisher. Who published this anyways? If I had to guess, with the name of Ashley and the way the cover is, I'm going to say maybe Penguin. I think let's say Doubleday. Oh my god, I was right. I did not know that. I promise you, I didn't know that, until I clicked this. So, go me, knowing things. Yes, oh my god, that's so funny. See, I can spot a book publisher in a mile or whatever, however you wanna say that. That's funny. So, yeah, Doubleday publishes this, which is fun. I didn't even look before because 'cause I'm like, I know this is a big 5. I'll just, like, because based on the price and, like, the price point, I'm like, "Let me just pre-order it. Who cares who, like, published it?" And there we go. It was Doubleday. See, so, like, they're kind like, they can easily group this book, I'm saying, with, like, Everyone Here Is Lying, like, that kind of thriller vibe, which is not a bad thing. Like, I think that's really great that they have, like, this little section. Anyways, that's a side note. Okay. Next book that releases oh, sorry. So that was 27 Minutes again by Ashley Tate, a debut author. So we love to support a debut. All right, next book releases January 30th, and that is We Rip the World Apart by Charlene Carr. Now, she wrote, what was the other book that she wrote that I haven't read yet, but I have it on my TBR? Is, oh my God, Indigo, hurry up. It was like we Hold My Girl, that's it. So Hold My Girl, from what my understanding of the description, like I feel like Charlene Carr is like a Jodi Picoult kind of author. I haven't read Hold My Girl yet, but I like We Rip the World Apart. Like I gotta read it, right? I don't know. Now, this cover, I will say, it's yellow. There's a rip in the middle. It's very text based, but I don't like the font. So I think they could have done better. I think that a lot because we Hold My Girl is just a beautiful cover. I just don't know how this book measures up to that. But I mean, you know what? I'm here for a sweeping multi-generational story. So this book is about 24-year-old Karila who discovers she's pregnant with a child she isn't sure she wants. It amplifies her struggle to understand her place in the world as a woman who is half black and half white, yet feels neither. Her mother, Evelyn, fled to Canada with her husband and their firstborn child, Anthony, during the politically charged Jamaican exodus of the 80s, only to realize they'd come to a place where black men are viewed with suspicion. Years later, in the aftermath of Antony's murder by the police, Evelyn's mother in law, Violet, moves in, offering young Karila a link to the Jamaican heritage she has never fully known. Despite Violet's efforts to help them through their grief, the traumas they carry grow into a web of secrets that threatens the very family they all hold so dear. So back in the present, Karila, prompted by fear and uncertainty about the new life she carries, must come to terms with the mysteries surrounding her family's past and the need to make sense of both her identity and her future. This book reveals the ways that simple choices made in the heat of the moment and with the best of intentions can have deeper repercussions than could ever have been imagined, especially when people remain silent. You see what I mean? Like it's very much Jodi Picoult, except we have an author writing like I hate using the term own voices, but like it is very much like own voices stories. Jodi Picoult can get a little bit wishy-washy there, but that's why I think that Charlene Carr is an interesting author to watch, despite me not ever having read any of her books. But that's fine. I feel comfortable making that statement because I think that her books will hold up. Because I know a lot of people who've loved her debut novel. So there we have it. That was We Rip the World Apart by Charlene Carr. Next up, we have is this YA? I don't think it's YA. We have Pride and Joy by Louisa Onome. And this, honestly, anything Nigerian author, Nigerian Canadian, Nigerian UK, whatever have you, I will buy it because I really do love Nigerian fiction. I don't know what it is. I just love the way they're always written. Like I never read a book from a Nigerian author that like I truly, truly did not like. So yeah, that's that. I think it was not it was just an easy decision to make. Which is fine. So Pride and Joy releases on March 12th. So I have a bit of a break between January and March, thank God. So this is slated as Black Cake meets Death at a Funeral. So this is about Joy Okafor. She was recently divorced life coach whose phone won't stop ringing, and is a dutiful Nigerian author who has planned every aspect of her mother's 70th birthday weekend on her own. And as the family slowly begins to arrive, Mama Mary goes to take a nap, but when the grandkids try to wake her, they find that she isn't sleeping after all. Refusing to believe that her sister is gone, Auntie Nancy declares that she has had a premonition. Mama Mary will rise again like Jesus Christ himself on Easter Sunday. Desperate to believe that they're about to witness a miracle, the family overhauls their birthday plans to welcome the Nigerian Canadian community and the host of AJ Africa TV to help spread the word that Mama Mary is coming back. But skeptical Joy is struggling to deal with the loss of her mother and not allowing herself to mourn just yet while going through the motions of planning a funeral that her aunt refuses to allow. So this is filled with humor and flawed, deeply relatable characters that leap off the page. Pride and Joy will draw on readers as if Okafors prepare for a miracle while coming apart at the seams, praying that they haven't actually lost Mama Mary for good and grappling with what her loss would truly mean for each of them. I love stories like this, and I think that it just sounds really fun and unique. So I'm like, I have to pre-order this. So it's on order for me. Thank you, Book City. So again, that was Pride and Joy by Louisa Onome. I don't think, is this a debut? I don't think so. I don't see it saying that it's a debut, right? Oh, she's the author of The Melancholy of Summer, which I see. Okay. But is this her debut adult novel? That's what, so okay, I thought that author's name was familiar. Look at that. Let me just click her name super quick and see what else she has. Oh no, she's written quite a few YA books. I mean, they look YA. Interesting. Oh no, wait, those are coming out. Okay, her other books. No. See, is this her adult debut? If it is, HarperCollins needs to fix this description. Because this is African American and Black family life humor. So that there's no YA in that Bizac thing. Okay, interesting. Anyways, sorry. Again, going into like publishing world. Okay, cool. Well, this sounds really fun and entertaining and the cover's beautiful. There's a cow hidden in the flowers, so I'm very interested to see how that plays out in the novel. I hope it does. Anyways, the cover's beautiful, and I'm like, you know what? This sounds really good. And now I know I also need to read The Melancholy of Summer because did it win an award? I feel like it won the Governor General's maybe, or maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. It's been on the award, like YA award cycle at least. Okay, that was a sidebar. All right, next up. So again, that was Pride and Joy by Louisa Onome. Probably definitely a book to pick up. The next book is called A Great Country by Shilpi Somaya Gowda, who was born in Canada but lives in California currently, I believe. And this comes out on March 26th as Americans and will lead each to consider, how do we define success? At what cost comes ambition? And what is our role and responsibility in the cultural mosaic of modern America? Okay, now we get into it. For readers of The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett and Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed, A Great Country explores themes of immigration, generational conflict, social class, and privilege as it reconsiders the myth of the model minority and questions the price of the American dream. Now, those are two very different books that they compare this to. The Vanishing Half is serious. Such a Fun Age, it was fantastic, but I think that it's a bit not humor, but like it just approaches the conversation of race differently, like in a satire almost in a way. So again, like very two different books to be comparing this to. So I like based on the cover and the description, I feel like it's more of a serious book than like a satire-y face like book. Like sorry, such a funny. It's not satire, but it's like you're in the like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's more of a contemporary approach is what I'm trying to say. I don't know, but it's just again like two very different books. It just doesn't seem right. Um but anyways, we'll see what happens when I read this because I'm gonna get it anyways. So yeah, we'll see. But it sounds really great. Again, like the kind of family story that I really like to read. So again, that was A Great Country by Shilpi Somaya Gowda, who I know a lot of people love. I don't think I've ever read any of her books, to be honest, which probably makes me a bad Canadian, but it is what it is. Okay, and the last book that I have pre-ordered is also another Canadian that I've never read before, and it releases March 12th, and that is The Inheritance by Joanna Goodman. I know I feel like I'm terrible for not having read her, but it's just the truth. She's the author of The Home for Unwanted Girls and The Forgotten Daughter. So this is a compulsively readable mother-daughter story in which two women who share a difficult past must come together to claim the future they deserve. So from what I know, I feel like Joanna Goodman is like a historical fiction author mostly, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know her books. So in this one, Arden Moore enjoyed an affluent life thanks to her husband's high paying job. But a year after his death, the 36-year-old is a grieving single mother, deeply in debt and living paycheck to paycheck with three children. Then an unexpected call from a well-known estate lawyer in New York offers a glimmer of hope. It is the beginning of a complex legal journey that could mean the difference between a life of abject poverty. I feel like that sounds very dramatic. And unthinkable wealth thanks to her father, deceased billionaire Wallace Barclay. 30 years before, Arden's mother, Virginia Bunt, a flirtatious love addict with a string of failed affairs, met Wallace, an encounter that transformed her life. When he died unexpectedly without a will, Virginia fought to secure a comfortable future for her and the secret unborn daughter she shared with Wallace. Yet, despite her best efforts, society and the legal system prevented her from receiving the money that should rightfully have been hers. Now, though, with changes in the legal system and science, her daughter Arden may finally succeed in claiming the inheritance that has been long denied. Told from both Arden and Virginia's viewpoints, straddling past and present, and moving from Toronto to New York City, The Inheritance is a poignant portrait of familial bonds, haunting pasts, the collateral damage of life choices, and the promise of hopeful futures as two venerable, I think that's how you say it, women fight for the life they deserve, which sounds really cool. Again, like I'm very much into family type of drama stories. So this sounds like one, maybe. And if it's not, that's okay because the cover's beautiful and it still sounds like a great one to read. So that was The Inheritance by Joanna Goodman, comes out in March. I hope it's a great read. All right, next, I will pre order this book most likely, depending on future choices made by me. But I'm very, very, very excited for it. I feel like I'm just waiting to see if Penguin, like their reader program, will put it in a newsletter, like for influencers. And if it's not there, then I'll just like pre order it. But I haven't decided, like, do I get the 500 bonus plum points or do I pre-order it cheaper from Book City, which I'm probably just going to do that. But anyways, that is Code Noir by Kanisa Lubrin. It's debut fiction. I feel have I read Kanisia Lubrin before? I don't know, but she's a name that everyone in Canlit Publishing knows. I feel like she's a superstar at this point. So that's why I'm like, I very much want to read this book. It's got a lot of award potential. I expect it to be everywhere between like, like for the award cycle for this book. It comes out in February. So this combines immense literary and political force. Its structure is deceptively simple. It departs from the infamous real-life Code Noir, which is a set of historical decrees originally passed in 1685 by King Louis, oh God, X1V. I don't know what that is. King Louis, whatever, of France, defining the conditions of slavery in the French colonial empire. So the original code had 59 articles. Code Noir, so this book has 59 linked fictions, vivid, unforgettable, multi-layered fragments filled with globe-wise characters who desire to live beyond the ruins of the past. Ranging in style from contemporary realism to dystopia, from futuristic fantasy to historical fiction, this inventive, shape-shifting braid of stories exists far beyond the enclosures of official decrees. This is a timely, daring, virtuosic book by a young literary star. Facts. The stories are accompanied by black and white drawings, one at the start of each fiction by acclaimed visual artist Turquoise Dyson. I definitely did not say the first name part right. But this sounds, again, it sounds very like literary, like it just sounds so fantastic. So it's linked short stories. So we know automatically it is eligible for the Gillers. Um and it just sounds like it's going to be fantastic. And for something that's like has 59 stories in it, the book is, let me see, how much, like it's 360 pages, which isn't bad. So plus you've got like illustrations in there. So I am so excited. It sounds like the perfect genre bending, genre mixing book, which is why I'm so excited for it. So yeah, that's why I really want to read it. Again, I just haven't. I will pre-order it. I just want to see what happens with like the Penguin Reads program. Because maybe I could request it because I don't want to pre-order it from Book City and then like cancel on them. Like that's so rude. I would never do that. That's why I pre-ordered most of these from Indigo, just in case like maybe I find a better price elsewhere or whatever. Like if Book City ever does a better price on these before release date, at least I have like a fallback, like cancel that and pre-order it from them. But anyways, that's a me thing. That's not important to anything here. So yeah, so that was Code Noir by Canisia Lubrin. Expect it to be everywhere in Canada next year. The BISAC code thing here, it's fiction, African American and Black sagas, and then literary, which is interesting because I feel like stories should be in that, but maybe it's like a secondary thing. But anyways, that has nothing to do with it. Um, okay, yeah. A couple of arcs that I just realized I need to share. So these are both they're Atria, so they're both Simon and Schuster. So I'm not going to pre-order them, but I have them here to read. And if I do love them enough, I will give my arc away and I'll just buy the damn book, which is usually what I do. So when does this book come out? This book comes out, January 30th. So I have to read this soon. And it is by a author I haven't read before, but I know is fantastic and also has a lot of award potential. This is Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austen. So, this is a fast paced, hilarious, and ultimately hopeful novel for anyone who has ever worried they might be a terrible person. I worry about that daily, but will this book make me feel better about myself? We will see. So, Enid is obsessed with space. She can tell you all about black holes and their ability to spaghettify you without batting an eye in fear. Her one major phobia, bald men. But she tries to keep that one under wraps. When she's not listening to her favorite true crime podcasts on a loop, she's serially dating a rotation of women from dating apps. At the same time, she's trying to forge a new relationship with her estranged half sisters after the death of her absent father. When she unwittingly plunges into her first serious romantic entanglement, Enid starts to believe that someone is following her. As her paranoia spirals out of control, Enid must contend with with her mounting suspicion that something is seriously wrong with her, because at the end of the day, there's only one person she can't outrun, herself. Brimming with quirky humor, charm, and heart, this book effortlessly shows us the power of revealing our secret shames, the most beautifully human parts of us all. Aw, sounds cool. And yeah, it just sounds really fun. Oh no, I'm thinking of Canada Reads, but that announcement is next week actually, or this week actually. So we'll see what happens then. I don't think it'll actually be on Canada Reads since you can't read it until like after the shortlist is announced because that's announced in like mid-January-ish. So there's that idea out. Oh well. But we'll see what happens. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Canada Reads. I will not be doing an extra episode on that, but we'll talk about it eventually. Maybe I'll talk about the shortlist after it's released. Okay, anyways, so that was Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austen. I know a lot of people are excited about it. It comes out right at the end of January. The next book is an interesting pick. I think I was just looking for a Canadian author to request from. And for some way, it just ended up being this one. It's called The Other Valley by Scott Alexander Howard. This comes out February 27th. Interesting. I feel like if you're gonna, I know Tuesday is like the biggest pub day of the week, obviously, but if you're gonna have an extra day in February, I think it would be fun to like make that pub date like February 29th. Cause then like you can joke and say, oh, in 4 years from now, my book is 2 years old or 1 year old or whatever, you know? So anyways, I feel like that is a missed opportunity for any book published on February 27th, in 2024. But anyways, this sounds like a very, very mind messing up book. I feel like it's going to take a lot of mental energy to read this. All right, so this says oh my god, for fans of David Mitchell, Ruth Ozeki, and Kazu Ishiguro, an exquisite literary speculative novel about an isolated town neighbored by its own past and future. So 16-year-old Odile, Odile. That's how you spell it. We're gonna call her Odile. Okay, so 16-year-old Odile vies for a coveted seat on the, oh gosh, this is too French for me. Conseil. I feel that's like conceal, but it sounds more French than that. So I'm just gonna say council. If she earns the position at 16, yeah, okay. If she earns the position, she'll decide who may cross her town's heavily guarded borders. On either side, it's the same valley, the same town. To the east, the town is 20 years ahead in time. To the west, it's 20 years behind. The towns repeat in an endless sequence across the wilderness, which is very interesting, but why they're putting a 16-year-old in charge of this is beyond me. But I guess that's the charm of the novel. So when Odile recognizes two visitors she wasn't supposed to see, she realizes that the grieving parents of her friend, Edme, have been escorted across the border on a mourning tour, mourning the death of them, so Mourn, to view their son while he's still alive in Odile's present. Edme, who is brilliant, funny, and the only person to truly know Odile, is about to die. Sworn to secrecy in order to preserve the timeline, Odile now becomes the council's top candidate. Yet she finds herself drawing closer to the doomed boy, imperiling her entire future. And there's an endorsement here from the author of the measure, Nikki Ehrlich. It is a bittersweet tale of first love and coming of age, as well as a unique take on the intersection of fate and free will. So it does sound very, very interesting. I really do like speculative fiction novels. I just don't. This one sounds pretty. I don't know. I don't know if I can buy that whole east and west thing and like the towns behind each other and the timelines, but I'm gonna give it a shot because it does sound good. I think it does also have like some really good award potential. Like this author's first novel, so I'm like thinking Amazon First Novel Award. I would say the Kobo Emerging Writing Prize, but they kind of switch out that last section. So I know 2023 they did do speculative fiction, so I don't think that would qualify, but you never know. I mean, it's an emerging writer, so it should do something. So yeah, I think it's got a lot of potential, which is exciting. So yeah, that's two arcs that I have. And in terms of, since I already said I would say this, other books I have pre-ordered that aren't Canadian, I have The Familiar by Lee Bardugo, which I mean, oh my gosh, I'm excited for that. I pre-ordered this from Book City because it was hardcover and there's 10% off of all their hardcovers, so win-win for me. And then, oh my gosh, The Guncle by Stephen Rowley. Sorry, The Guncle Abroad, my bad. The Guncle was like the previous book, which is so good. All of Stephen Rowley's books are pre-orders for me. I don't care. Even if this book is on like book of the month, I don't care. I'm gonna pre-order the book anyways because I love Stephen Rowley. He's definitely one of my favorites. Another book I mean to watch out for, let me just look it up because I have to look at the deal news to be honest. Where is he? Eddie Automatic. Here we go. So Eddie Boudel-Tan, I loved After Elias. I do have the Rebellious Tide on my TBR still, but I'm scared to read it because like I just hate the whole thing about like the sophomore novel. It just makes me very, very nervous. Okay, so Is this book coming out in 2024? I don't even know. Okay, well, it's called The Tiger and the Cosmonaut, and it's coming out with Penguin Canada. It's about a family processing a mysterious loss from their past, exploring how the insecurities of Asian immigrants are exploited in their isolated town, how the expectations placed on the second generation are chafed against, and how a current rage simmers beneath the composed veneers of both. So that was sold to Penguin Canada by by Cooke McDermott, which I thought was Cookie McDermott this entire time. um yeah, and they just have Canadian fiction rights. So, like, there's no date on that, but I'm assuming it's gonna come out in 2024. I hope, because then there's no news yet, so, like, I can't pre-order it, but, like, that's a book I'm waiting to pre-order, to be honest. Yeah, shit, there's no date here, so maybe it is in 2024, but it should be, because I'm pretty sure he's done writing that. Eddie, if you're listening to this, like, send me a message, because I just wanna know your pub date, please. Anyways, that's enough of me talking for 2023. Again, I appreciate you so, 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 so much for listening to my tiny little podcast and supporting Canadian authors. I love when you all message me saying, like, or tagging me in stories saying you bought this book or you read it because it was a recommendation on this podcast. That is the reason why I started this podcast, just to like share Canadian voices, because I'm truly passionate about it and all that sappy, sappy stuff. So enjoy the holidays, be merry, be happy, enjoy, have fun, and stay safe as always. Always stay safe. And yeah, so thank you again. I will see you next year for, oh god, that's so cheesy. I will start the new year, I guess we should say, with a wrap up of like all my reading stats. You know what? I might as well do it both Canadian, like include non-Canadian stuff, because why not? It's a wrap up. But I will also wrap up like my top Canadian books of the year kind of thing. So stay tuned for that as always. And again, thank you for everything. And I will, oh god, again, gonna be so cheesy. I'll see you in the new year. Thanks for listening to the Get Canlit podcast, a show that's all about what Canadian authors you need to read next. Don't forget to rate, review, and follow on your favorite platform, and watch out for new episodes every other Tuesday. You can find me on social media at Get Canlit Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Get Canlit Pod on Twitter. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.